I want to say that it is now, as you've heard, almost 7 to 8 months since we met in consultation over the 2013 budget preparation. We had planned to deliver our budget on December 11, 2012, but I'm sure you are aware more than anyone else of the difficulties which transpired and thus the need to postpone the budget until Tuesday of next week. I want to emphasize that there may be still some needling uncertainties in people's mind as to why the budget may be coming at this time. I want to emphasize that since we had made announcements for the budget, there was a vote of no confidence that was lodged against my government, lodged with the Clerk of the House on the 11th of December. That, in fact, would have been the same day that the budget should have been heard. I want to emphasize that the Constitution and the rules of the Assembly are silent on the order that the motion occupies on the calendar of the Parliament. And so it is left entirely to the Speaker working with the leader of government business to determine exactly where a motion of this kind would fall. I want to emphasize further that it is, however, an important parliamentary tool, that is the motion. It is used in democratic societies, and we have taken it very, very seriously as a government. But I have continued to make the point that the date of the budget was placed before the Parliament, long before the motion of the vote of no confidence was delivered to the Clerk of the National Assembly. I want to say further that as Prime Minister, I believe I would have been failing in my duty to pursue this path that my detractors would wish me to follow, that is, having the motion before the vote, before the budget was presented. I emphasize that I have to ensure that the government is in a position to provide funding for the continued development of our people, especially the social services that the government has been providing. And even though one may say that there might be appropriate parliamentary and financial tools that could be brought into being by the Ministry of Finance or the Minister of Finance, we believe that this was such a critically important activity of the government that spending needs to be supported by an act of Parliament, which is what the budget session does at the end when a vote is taken on the appropriation bill. I also want to make it clear that if the motion was taken before the budget, the chances are we would have gone into an election. We could have gone into an election. And without the authorized spending for an election, we could again would have been violating the Constitution and the very principles under which our fiscal and financial prudence and activities would have been geared all throughout the entire years. I therefore hope that you would have understood the bigger picture as to why we believe that we should conduct our affairs in a very matured way. My government continues to take the mandate and the confidence that the ordinary man and woman in this country have reposed in us, and I, for one, will not become distracted, as I have said in the past. I am on a mission to hand over the leadership of our country better than when I received it, for I am very much convinced that my government has assisted in transforming the lives of our people throughout the years that we've had the opportunity to lead St. Kitts and Nevis. So I brought you here as our leaders in our sphere in order to continue the dialogue with you on the type of society that we are to create and the type of society that we should have, and also to discuss at this stage any new issue of relevance that you may wish the Ministry of Finance to consider at this stage when we are just about 5 days, 6 days away from the presentation of the budget, which we expect will occupy most of next week, and thus give us the opportunity as we debate over the next few days from Tuesday to make adjustments as you may see fit and necessary in order to move our country forward. I want to say that, of course, we have reached a long way from where we were. And as the Financial Secretary has outlined, we are at the point where we believe that the prospects for overall growth are very promising, and it is anticipated that our federation will return to positive growth levels around 1.9 in 2013 this year. I want to emphasize that we are very fortunate that notwithstanding the very unfavorable global economic environment, our tourism sector in particular continues to attract very significant investment in tourism-related facilities and infrastructure. We have seen a number of investment projects which we have rolled out, even though we had not had the opportunity to be in Parliament for the budget. We've rolled out a number of projects. The Kitts-Nevis Harbour development is continuing despite some internal problems that there were in the owners of that project. The Park Hyatt, which is part of the Kitts-Nevis Harbour development, we are going to be breaking ground for that at the end of May. The Kittian Hill is continuing. It is now set to be opened in November of this year. And at the moment, we have no less than 300 people working at that site, at a place in the heart of the sugar belt, where our detractors again were saying that I was dreaming in trying to develop tourism in that part of the country which had been hardest hit by the closure of the sugar industry in 2005. We have also launched and participated in the groundbreaking exercise for the Koi Resort. Sorry, not the Koi Resort, the Imperial Golf and Beach Resort. We've also broken ground for the Golden Rock Commercial Development Park that is ongoing just outside of Connery. And very shortly, there would be an announced date for the groundbreaking ceremony for the Koi Resort as well. It was only 2-3 weeks ago that we participated in an exercise at Ross University where $67 million have been identified to be plowed into that ongoing facility as it expands its own plant and look with confidence in the future, because they are very certain that their investment in St. Kitts and Nevis has the potential to grow, and the owners are willing to put in another $67 million in that particular facility. The construction sector, that has been a major growth area in the economy as well. In fact, we want to thank in particular the SIDF, which has come on board as a social and economic stimulus partner that has provided so much support in so many different sectors of the economy in attempting to stabilize social problems and economic situations as well, where important capital was needed in order to help to stimulate the economy. I want to say that you must be aware that there is an initiative that is being provided for a reduction in taxes applicable to building materials for the first time homeowners construction projects valued up to $400,000. And this, of course, is strongly linked to the government's commitment to empowering our people through land and home ownership. I've had the opportunity only a few weeks ago to travel the entire Dale mountainside, starting out at an area just outside Keys, and for the first time traveling across Dale Mountain, going to the top of Gun Hill, and then coming down into St. Peter's. We want to thank Social Security for opening up that path, which then opens up the lands in Dale for further development. And we intend, as a government, to make these lands available, if possible, to the Social Security and use the millions of dollars that would be derived therefrom to put infrastructure into several housing development projects, especially in West Farm, where we have given out no less than 500 house lots. Also in White House Gardens, where we need to put in the infrastructure in several of our housing development programs and sites so that our people can begin to build and thus generate the economic activity that we believe is absolutely necessary in moving our country forward. In the area of agriculture, our commercial farms have been identified as very critical to the increase in food production and security in the agricultural sector. And we want to emphasize that this sector is going to further demonstrate not only the diversification of the economy, but also further diversify the food products available to our people, and to make sure that the government provides the necessary facilitation that is going to be necessary in the establishment of a new agro-processing group, the St. Kitts Agro-Processing or Processor Cooperative. I link this in particular very quickly with tourism, because we had just last week started phase 2 of the agro-tourism project that is situated outside of Sir Gillies in Sandy Point and Newton Ground, where over $3 million have already been expended in developing this project. Not only expanding the tourism plant that we have, the tourism product and plant that we have in St. Kitts-Nevis, but yet again providing that very vital and important link between tourism and agriculture, which are the two leading productive sectors in the new economy that we are trying to build. Looking at the energy sector, I emphasize that for the first time in our country, we now have a whole line of street lights that are powered entirely by solar energy. And this is seen along the main road from Sandy Point into St. Paul's. we also are emphasizing that this new phenomenon of energy must become the ordinary way of producing energy for our people. And so we are continuing to gallop very speedily on providing the solar farm at the Robert Llewellyn Bratcher International Airport, where we would have 1 megawatt of solar energy produced into electricity, which will be fed into our grill, and the balance that is beyond which the facility uses at the airport would be into the national grid, either free of cost or set off against maybe the energy bill that SCASPA would be provided in other parts of its operations. The idea here is that very shortly, every single new house that is provided by the government as affordable housing would have a solar energy system attached to it, so that our consumers at the domestic level would be provided with less difficulties in meeting their energy and electricity obligations than before. This is to impact positively as well with the commercial sector. And again, we are asking the commercial sector to ensure that you utilize very wisely the very lucrative support that has been provided and incentives that have been provided by the government in order for you to generate electricity much more cheaply and thus cut back on your fixed costs in your operations and thus increase your potential for profits in your business operations. I can go on, but I will not, because I'm hungry and you are hungry, I'm sure. I will break here. We will have our breakfast, and over breakfast we can continue to discuss some of these issues. I want to hear from you. I know that there are issues which have come on stream since we last met over 7 months ago. Maybe it is godsend that the budget is so late that we've had a glimpse of what the future is in 2013, and we can now, to some extent, make some additions, some corrective measures, some additions specifically, so that we can improve at the end of the day the quality of life for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course the environment in which we do business and the environment in which we live. Let me stop here for now and give us the opportunity to break bread and come back and continue our discussions. Thank you.